iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Buddy, it's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. Back from LA, very long trip. When you're coming from Florida and you're going to LA, I think it'd be closer if I went to London. I'm just throwing that out there. But it was a good trip. Good to see people. Good to see people in the industry. Good to see the fantasy sports industry thriving and doing so well. And I think that's partly, I want to thank you guys out there for being part of the Scout Army and for part of liking what we do. And, you know, we're just a part of the cog, part of the machine, but it's a great machine, and there are a lot of people out there who are super successful who want to continue doing great work in this industry. So very proud to be part of it. But you know that I went there to draft, and I did. We didn't get through as much of the draft as we wanted to, but I think that it was done partially okay, but now at this point I'm a little disappointed, and I'll tell you why. We did the first 8 rounds online before we went, which I think made a lot of sense. Retrospectively, I wouldn't have minded doing another 2 or 3 rounds, maybe 4, maybe go to 10 rounds or 12. I didn't want to leave this draft unfinished because if you break this draft down in thirds, it's an unfair advantage. You know, you sit there on draft day and you have a crummy draft, you're having a bad night, I could take advantage of you. Here, you have 8 rounds on a slow draft format. Then we drafted for 2 hours. Now you get home and get 8 hours again. I mean, if you can't get this job right at this time, there's no hope for you. And these guys are experts. So I think there's something to be said. You know, when you're at a draft, you're not concentrating, you miss a guy's name, you know, you're thrown off balance, but you go home, you have time. I have an 8-hour clock. You think I'm rushing my pick? Look, I'll tell you this. When I do these online drafts, I may have an 8-hour clock, and I may know exactly who I want to take. That doesn't mean I pick the guy in 2 minutes. I look, I sit, and then I look at the 2 or 3 names, and then I go over it again. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours into it, I'll make a pick. Boom! I'm not rushing anything. You rush, you get it wrong. You take your time, you get it right. I think the problem here was that we broke it down into so many little pieces. It was too fragmented. So I have no problem. What I'd love to see is let's do 12 rounds next year first and then finish the draft when they're there. I don't want to leave the room without the draft being over. I can hang out with everybody an hour later. It's all good. I know everybody anyway. I talk to the guys I want to talk to. I really don't meet anybody new at these things anyway. It's all good. I'm there to draft. Let me do my thing and let's go home. You know what I'm saying? So, going into this, you knew I had Betts, Sale, Dozier. Rounds 1, 2, 3. Betts, Sale, Dozier. Hoskins in 4. Wilson, Contreras in 5. Luke Weaver in 6. Felipe Rivero in 7. Travis Shaw in 8. So, I had a catcher. I had a first baseman in Hoskins. I had 2 starters, a reliever, a third baseman, a second baseman, and an outfielder. So I knew in round 9 there were guys that I liked. I liked Gregory Polanco. I liked Real Muto. I did. I liked them both. But I really thought I needed a pitcher. I thought the best hitter on the board was Nick Castellanos, but he's on a bad team. So I really thought about David Price, Masahiro Tanaka, and Kyle Hendricks. Price was the 4th pitcher taken in that round. Tanaka was the very next pick. So I got Hendricks 3 picks after that. I'm okay with that. Is Hendricks perfect? No. He's not a big strikeout guy, but he's a big, good, strong pitcher on a winning team where I feel I'm going to get an ERA under 4, a decent whip, 160 or 170 strikeouts, 12 to 14 wins. He's solid. I can live with solid. I took a risk with Luke Weaver. Because I took the risk with Luke Weaver, solid's not a bad thing for my team. So, after Hendricks goes, Eddie Rosario goes. Nice pick. Matt Carpenter goes. Nice pick. Stroman goes. Okay, I love Stroman. I might have taken Stroman instead of Hendricks. Joey Gallo, not Jerry Callow, Joey Gallo goes. Inciarte goes. Desmond goes. Manuel Margot goes. Odubel Herrera. Eduardo Nunez. Adam Eaton, who I like. John Lester. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, oh my God, am I going to get Castellanos, who I thought about taking in round 9? No. Brent Hershey from Baseball HQ takes Castellanos right there, the pick before me. So let me say this. Most times I would argue that it doesn't matter who you sit next to at a draft. That's not true. That's not true. There are a lot of teams in this league. I think the guy I least want to sit next to in this league are the guys at Baseball HQ. This is what they do for a living. Their name of their site is Baseball HQ. They don't do football. They don't do basketball. They don't make mistakes. So maybe I was wrong to think that Castellanos was going to last to me. He was the right pick. He was the right pick when we picked the first time. So maybe had I picked, at a different spot, I would have gotten the guy. So a lot of times when we draft, you look back and say, I should have had the guy. Well, maybe you would have if you were in a different spot. Right? A lot of it is where we draft. I draft near Vlad Sedler. I know he's not leaving me a lot. I draft near Brent Hershey. I know he's not leaving me a lot. That's just how it works. Trust me. You draft next to me in a football draft, I want to hear the groan. Ugh. Boom. That means I made a great pick. So, after Castellanos went, I decided to go for Ryan Healy. There are a lot of ways I could have gone here. And maybe retrospectively, I could have gone Ozzy Albies. I could have looked at Yuri Gurriel. Maybe Yohan Moncada, who I do like a little bit. But power is king. And what I liked about Healy was Seattle traded for him because they want to play him every day. The guy qualifies at first and third, and he's going to hit a lot of home runs. He made that seventh in that order. But I still think he hits 30 home runs. So, we need power. 300 home runs is not what it used to be. You need 400 now. So I took the shot there with Healy that he would be good. Round 11 came and went, and I took Paul DeJong. You may not know Paul DeJong, but I think you will pretty soon. So what happens is with Paul DeJong, I have a friend named Jeff who said something, and sometimes you don't know where you get the piece of information from, but you know it's a good piece of information. And Jeff says to me, I think people will look back at DeJong and treat him like Brian Dozier. Remember when Brian Dozier came up and people didn't buy in? I remember getting Brian Dozier in round 14. That was one of my best years in fantasy baseball. I took Brian Dozier in round 14 where people were taking Jason Kipnis in 2. Boom! Dozier was better. I think DeJong is going to be a real good player. And I'm going to show you something here. I could be delusional. I've been known to be a little crazy. But let me see how far off I am for something. One moment, please. Please hold. How come I can't ever get to the stuff that I want when I want it? Okay. I'm going to give you player A, and then I'm going to give you player B. Player A, 304 batting average, 28 home runs, 86 RBIs, 95 runs scored, 4 stolen bases. Okay? Player B, 271 batting average, 26 home runs, 73 RBIs, 70 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases. So we could argue that the home runs are the same, RBIs are the same, stolen bases are the same. So you're talking about another 20 runs scored, another 20 points in the batting average. You with me? Can we agree on that? I hope we can. Player number 1 was Corey Seager, 2nd round pick. Player number 2, Paul DeJong, 11th round pick. Boom. Did I lose some average? You betcha. Did I lose some runs scored? You betcha. Do I have the same home runs, RBIs, and runs scored? And stolen bases, pretty similar. And I got him a whole lot later. That's how I like to draft in fantasy baseball. I want to look for a guy later and say to myself, is this guy similar to a guy I could have had earlier? If it's not, then I got to take the guy earlier, right? So Mookie Betts does something that very few people do. He's a 5-category player. That makes him different. That's why he's guy you got to take. Chris Sale is a guy who strikes out 300 guys. Can anybody else do that? Is Alex Wood doing that? No. Rich Hill? No. Aaron Sanchez? Psh, no. That's why Sale's different. So you have to look at people and say, how different are they? Is Paul DeJong that much different than Corey Seager? Well, they're different, but not that much different. Not that much different. So there I was and took Paul DeJong. All right. Could have taken Sean Doolittle. Maybe I should have. I don't know, but I like DeJong. That was another name I liked there was Doolittle. It was a good spot for him. The guys at Baseball HQ did a very good job this year. Very good job. Really did. Okay. So after that goes Doolittle and Hand and Trinan. Ian Happ I liked. I was like, maybe I'll get him coming back. That didn't happen. So it goes Alex Colomé, Trevor Bauer. And at this point, I start putting down names, and it only comes down to one name for me. Mike Zunino. Trevor Bauer goes. Gio Gonzalez goes. Arodys Vizcaino goes. Bradley Zimmer goes. David Peralta goes. And on all of a sudden, Baseball HQ says the names Mike Zunino. Are you kidding me? Twice? Twice. In 3 rounds, I'm sniped twice. Seriously. Seriously. The first time I was annoyed. But that was expected maybe. The second time was just, are you kidding me? Seriously, are you kidding me? And that really hurt me. Because I liked Zunino there. Zunino is different. Zunino can hit you 30 home runs. Now, he may hit you 228, but he can hit you 30 home runs. Now, later on, you'll see that I don't hate the catcher I took, but it doesn't matter. I wanted Zunino. I wanted that a lot. Now, retrospectively, I ended up getting a Mike Zunino type of player next. I took a kid named Matt Olson. Now, if you don't know Matt Olson, I want to introduce you to him because I think he's a very special player. Okay? Now, he left with a hamstring injury. I get that, but he'll be healthy. In Nashville last year in AAA, he had 294 at-bats and hit 23 home runs. Then he came up to Oakland, and in 189 at-bats, he hit 24 home runs. That is 47 home runs in less than 500 at-bats. Is he going to do that this year? I don't know, but I think 40 is a lock. And a lot of people in this industry won't look at Matt Olson and see prodigious power. I do. I do. People see Stanton. People see Judge. Right? But they didn't. I mean, the A's like this guy so much, they're like, bye, Ryan Healy. See ya. We got Matty Olson. Right? So, what's the difference between Matt Olson and Zunino? I think Matt Olson's a bigger lock for 35 home runs, and he'll have a better average. Maybe he'll be 250 or 260, where Zunino can hit 220. So, yes, I was annoyed about Mike Zunino, but I think retrospectively, it'll fit my team better with Matt Olson. I really am a fan of Matt Olson. I really, really am. And if I could get him in every league, I'll be pretty happy with that. All right. One more pick that I'll talk about in this podcast. Round 13, Trey Mancini went. Jameson Taillon went. I like Taillon. And then I was faced with a situation. Mookie Betts is probably going to steal me about 25. Brian Dozier about 15, so that's 40. And now Travis Shaw, maybe 10 is 50. I need a little bit more speed. I want to get about 100 stolen bases, and I'm 50 away. So at this point, I look to Andrelton Simmons. So let me tell you something that my friend Steve once said. He says, I only draft players on good teams. And there's something to that. Andrelton Simmons is on a pretty darn good team. Have you seen that batting order? Seriously, have you seen that batting order? Kinsler, Simmons, Pujols, Calhoun, Upton, Trout, Ohtani, Cozart, Valbuena. This team can hit. So you know what? Can Andrelton Simmons get me 15 home runs and 15 stolen bases? Yes, I think he can. And the key is this. I only want 15 stolen bases. I mean, obviously I want more, but I'll take it. Instead of getting 50 stolen bases from one guy, if I can get 15 from 3, I get the same 45 stolen bases and I'm good and I have my 100. So it's not just about, and the better thing is Simmons may get me 15 home runs where a stolen base guy usually doesn't get you any. So I don't lose anything in those categories. So that's what I want you guys to focus on. Okay? Tomorrow, I promise you I'll go through the next few rounds of that draft so you can see the other picks that I made. Right? I'll do rounds 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And there were decisions that have been made, especially one there that I really want to get you to, I'll give you a good take on. A hot take from Dr. Roto. All right, but right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I want to encourage you all to go to scoutdfs.com, whether it's PGA analysis, NBA, whatever you need to win in DFS, we are there for you. Scoutdfs.com. Okay? Great site out there. We do very hard work. We want to make it the best for you, and we want to make you a winner. All right, guys, wishing you a great day. Back tomorrow. This is Dr. Roto saying be well. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!